This is kind of interesting because I'm doing a live stream and I've never done this before. I figured that I should just try it because I saw Alex Hormozi was doing 30 lives in 30 days. And I don't even know how this thing works, but I wonder if you do a live stream, you just get views. But I don't think you do. I thought people might just pop in for a chat, but I don't think they are. Maybe they'll watch it later, maybe they won't. But now I have to think about what to talk about. What has been on my mind recently? I guess I can start there. Something that has happened in my life. So a few years ago, I left the corporate world and I was working as a data scientist. I actually was fired, quite interestingly. And after I got fired, um, I decided that I wanted to start my own business. And so I left the corporate world and I started to sell fitness coaching online, which was a hugely developmental experience. So you can't cut out where you mess up on words. So you have to be quite sharp with this. It's quite a good exercise, actually, I think. Anyway, let's be real. I struggled a lot, to be honest. When I first started, I ended up see, this is just the raw me losing my thoughts. I wonder if anyone's going to come. I don't know. Maybe people will if I do this every single day. But yeah, like I ended up I read 100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozi. I started offering my services for free and that was going well. I think I got like 20 free clients in the first few weeks. But then I was still struggling because I just felt like there was so much uncertainty. Like I was literally just like, I was come from this corporate job and this corporate world and university background and private school background where you are spoon-fed quite a lot and you're told, okay, this is what you do next and this is what you do next. And then when you actually go out into the world of business, you realize that there is no blueprint. Now, some businesses, there are a blueprint, and I think Alex Hormozi does a great job at breaking it down. But even with all of that resource, it still feels really overwhelming because I think you really don't have anyone telling you what to do. And so I felt out of my depth. And I remember I was watching YouTube and I got hit with an ad by a company called Propane Fitness. And when I got hit with the ad, I ended up booking a call with them. I think I remember rescheduling the call because I was like, oh, I don't want to go on this call. I don't want to be. I think I thought I knew that I would get sold something, or there's so much inertia at that time to buy, like to get on a call with someone you don't know. And so then after I got on the call, they remember them messaging me and be like, "Oh, why did you reschedule?" And I ended up just booking the call for the next day. And it was a guy, and he was a pretty good sales guy because I ended up buying the program for £6,800, and I got on the call not thinking that I was going to buy something, but by the end, I'd handed my card details over, the money had been transferred, and the deal had been done. And even after that, after handing over the money, I felt really overwhelmed because I was like, oh my God, I've just handed over a massive sum of money. Well, in my eyes, it was a massive sum of money. But it wasn't, and I'd never spent that amount of money before. And so I went on that journey of taking action on the things that I wanted to. And to be fair, the course was good because it did force me to take action. I was like, oh my God, I spent this amount of money. I have to do everything right. And it ended up actually allowing me to get my first few clients in that offer. And some of the things that I had to, I guess, fight with or battle with were asking for money from people that I know. I think that was like quite a deeply uncomfortable thing. I'd never done that before. And it was like, oh my God, you're asking for money. And I think we will have these beliefs that are built into us from our childhood about what money is. And I think you have to like be uncomfortable and ask for money and realize that actually it's not that bad. And over time, like now, I don't find it difficult to ask for money. Like if I'm delivering a service to someone, that's completely fine. Like I think money's a measure of value. I think it's a good way of, you know, doing some sort of exchange with someone, especially if you know that you're going to deliver them results. And so that was like one of the things I had to confront. A few other things I had to confront was running paid advertising, learning that skill, which I didn't find too difficult to be honest, but I had to like do things that I failed at. I was running this thing called a challenge funnel, and so when you run a challenge funnel, this was what was taught in the program. But basically, when you run a challenge funnel, in a nutshell, you run a Facebook ad to a free group, and in that group, you nurture the leads um, and the people that are opted in for what you're offering. And then by sending out those videos, you end up building trust with them. And then on the third day, on the fifth day, you end up pitching your services. And again, that was something that I hadn't done before, but I had to learn how to do. And yeah, business has taught me so many different skills. I think there's a great quote. I'm actually going to get the quote up because I don't want to butcher it. But the quote is, entrepreneurship is a personal growth engine disguised as a business pursuit. And yeah, I think that kind of sums up like what it is like, because I think it forces you to like look at yourself in the mirror and be completely truthful with where you're not performing where you should be to be where you want to be. And that could be with your habits, it could be with other things. And it's really interesting because I did that for a year and a half, and then I ended up not wanting to sell fitness because I felt like I could be like in the long run, I felt like I was at this stage where actually I could sell something more expensive to higher value customers a lot more easily if I was just better at something. And whether that's digital marketing or some other service, I felt like selling to businesses was a better opportunity vehicle than selling to normal customers, just because there's less objections, their willingness to pay is higher. And so in the long run, over a 5-year period, I'll actually make more than the fitness with probably less effort. That being said, I'd never sold B2B before, and I didn't really have any experience in a niche. And so I started to reach out to people, and I did make a few small um, like inches of progress, but not as much as I would have hoped. And partly that's because of my inconsistency with outreach and content and that kind of thing. But I thought to myself, like, maybe there's an easier way about this. And so I actually ended up like reflecting on it, and maybe I could have like applied to a job. Does this look like we have someone in the house? Is there someone watching? How do I look at what or participants? Oh no, it's just me. That's funny. I'm just talking to myself. But yeah, anyway, I ended up reflecting on that, and I ended up applying to a job with Stephen Bartlett because I felt like if I worked there, then that would give me, some experience, valuable experience, learning from a B2B place. Actually, maybe there was someone there. Oh, that's cool. We had our first visitor. I'm so glad, even though they were there for like 1 second. But yeah, and so yeah, I've realized that now, and I've been kind of in the process of trying to get a good opportunity at a company where they do sell B2B. Um, and I think the learning from all of this is that when you do start a business, if you do want to start a business, I think it's so valuable to get some experience in the niche or the industry that you're starting a business in, because going in blind, it can be done. Like I think if you do the work, if you do the outreach, it can be done. But I think it's far more easier just going into an industry, learning about that industry, and then you can go in with a bit more knowledge that you don't get from not working in the industry. And so that means you have to take a step back sometimes, and you have to say to yourself, well, actually, I'm going to go and work for someone and learn from them. and be tied to, the job, and do the whole 9 to 5 thing, or 7 to 7, whatever your hours are, and be okay with that. And you have to detach from your ego, because my ego is telling me, oh my god, like you're going and getting a job, like that's not like what you've talked about for the last few years. Like, you're this person that seems to be the entrepreneurial person, and you have to almost detach from your identity and say, hey, actually, you know what, I'm not as good as I think I am, or I'm not good enough to start this business, and I need to go and learn. And I think that's completely okay. And so that's where I'm at the moment. And I had some interviews this last week, at a company that I actually feel pretty confident about getting the job at, if yeah, the stars align. And I feel like if I get that job, it will be great opportunity for me to learn in an environment which will push me to my potential. And yeah, let's see how that goes. So I'm going to end the stream now. We have, I think, about, I don't know, 10 minutes, 11 minutes of footage. It's my first ever live stream, but maybe if I do this every day, more people will come and watch me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I decided. I saw Hormozi doing live streams, and I felt like maybe I can try that. But no one showed up. Well, one person showed up for about a few minutes. But anyway, I'm rambling. See you next time.